Good morning. Tuesday, Pashas Kedoshim. As the Shabbat Mamshech, the concept we discussed yesterday about the relationship with the father and son, mother and son, father and daughter, father and daughter. As we mentioned yesterday, that we are parents for some reason, craving for that respect. Meaning to say respect, like the demand that the kids should respect the parents like authority. Meaning to say, again, as I mentioned yesterday, I'm your father, I'm not your brother, I'm not your friend, I'm not your buddy, I am your father. So it brings the parents on a certain level of they're higher than a child. Therefore, once they put themselves higher than a child, it automatically wakes within them that crave to be respected as someone who is higher authority. However, we pointed out yesterday that Lamaise, this perception is not really productive so much. This perception it won't bring any kind of results. Just opposite. It's more the parents is more would demand the respect as less respect will get. As more we just being calm and having that brotherhood relationship, sisterhood relationship, as more we get back. Meaning to say, I will give you the examples. When a father or mother waking up the child to go to shacharis or to yeshiva, usually it happens more. The father presents himself as his father, as a high authority, and this high authority comes and wakes up the bocher to go to yeshiva. Really, it's not always so productive because again, when a father and mother comes to wake up the bocher to go to yeshiva, it's also in a certain way when the child does not wake up, the parents perceive it as direct disrespect to them. So therefore, the parents become upset, and the roller coaster starts. Criticism, blame, and so forth. However, when all the activities that the parents trying to provide to a child, it should be done more of a brotherhood manner, or sisterhood manner. I mean to say, when you wake up your child, don't try to present yourself with a high authority. I'm your father. I'm telling you to wake up right now, or I'm telling you to go to sleep right now because I'm your father. And if you don't, it's you are having direct. It's a threat to it. It's a direct threat to a parent. No, just talking to him is like as a brother would tell to his other brother. Just go to sleep because it's good for you. Just be smart, make a smart decision. But again, you can't perform it. You really have to feel it. You can't perform brotherhood relationship. It needs to be real. And to want to understand that there is as more of being natural, as more of being that having a personal relationship with the child, more of a like cool embody a relationship with the child, as more we'll gain, as more we perform as authorities. So as less we'll get, and as less we accomplish with our child, and as less encouragement the recognition the child will get. So what does brotherhood relationship mean? Really, it's today's generation. It's especially we see that brothers today don't get along so much, but naturally, brotherhood relationship means the vitur. You don't expect any kind of out of ordinary respect from your brother. You mean to say that we talk on a first name basis, not first name basis, but more of a personal, not it's more of a personal relationship, more of vitur. You're giving up on your respect. You don't get offended if the brother talks to you a certain way. You don't get offended if the brother treats you a certain way. There's certain vitur. You give up. And the MS truth is, in any kind of relationship, and it's in order to achieve profound relationship, you have to give up on somewhat degree on your respect, because everybody will hold to their pride. It's very hard to create relationship because always the pride will stay in the way. Yesterday we mentioned Yaakov Avinu and his kids, that Yaakov Avinu was as a symbol, as an example of good and profound relationship with his kids. As we mentioned yesterday from Rashi, Achim, Yaakov was calling his sons Achim, brothers. Interesting, when we look at Pasha Stolbis, we see a very interesting, actually fascinating fascinating statement what Yaakov released to his father Yitzchok. Pasuk says as follows: when Yaakov came to take brachas for Yitzchok, Yaakov is saying as follows: Vayover Yaakov el Oviv. Yaakov told his father Yitzchok, "Onoichi Esav b'chorecho." I'm Esav, your bechor. Asisik asher dibarto. I did as you commanded me. Eloi. Kim nu shuvu v'ochlu metzedi. Please stand up and eat from my food. Ba'vilti v'rechani nafshechu. So you should bless me. You should give me a bracha. Very interesting. There's very interesting ha'ora. Very interesting what Paskin pointing out is ha'ora. There is a person that has in his life two very important people. One person is the Talmud Chacham, is the Rav that he's close to. The second person is the father. Interesting, and the Torah very, very much makbid. Torah very much puts very, very strong, actually demands for a person to respect his parents tremendously. Is one of the Zerah. However, we don't find that the Torah certainly puts the boundaries on the way how the child should talk to his father. Meaning to say, there is no like what Tati says, what the Tati holds. There's no like, it's certainly a respectful way how we communicate what the Tati say, what the Tati want. We don't say we don't find that the halacha demands from our to use this kind of language. But it looks like from the halacha that a son can relate to his father plain on the personal, to talk to the parents at a very personal level, like how are you, how are you doing, what do you want to eat, more of you and not like tate. In Lashon HaKodesh they say Lashon Noichach, not Lashon Nister, more direct and personal language. When a child communicates to a father, is more direct and personal language. We don't use that silent like tate. What does tate want? What does tate want to eat? How does tate doing? We don't find the Torah requesting this kind of language from us. However, Talmud Chacham by Rebbe do a halucha that it requires the person when he communicates to his Rav, to his Rebbe, to be a respectful, meaning to say more of a higher respect to a Rebbe, to give that high respect to a Rebbe. Meaning to say when a person communicates to his Rebbe, it should be said, what does the Rebbe want? How's the Rebbe doing? But parents who don't find it, so pshat in it. Some Seifer in this passage, what I mentioned before, points out very strong nekuda, very strong nekuda. It's saying, when you saying Lushan Noichach, meaning to say, when you say, what does Tati want, how does Tati feel, that not using language of how are you doing, what do you want to eat, and this kind of language, more direct and personal language, not using personal language creates a distance between a father and a son. Versus when you use personal language, when a child relates to a father on a personal level, how are you doing? What do you want? This kind of language, this is more of personal language. It creates more of an intimate relationship between father and a kid, between mother and a kid. So Chassav is saying as follows. He's saying, how come Yaakov did not mention? Yaakov is keep on saying to Yitzchak, B'chorecho, I'm your bechor, dibarto, as you said, and we'll find by Esav is saying, Yukim Uvi, father, Tate, please stand up. So it looks like as Esav is more respectful to his father versus Yaakov. So Samson brings down, Pashas told us, from his Rebbe Lusen Adler. So he's saying as well, Omer Yaakov diber imoy belushan noichach. Yaakov spoke to his Yitzchak Lushan Noichach more on a personal level. Kimnu kederech shebnei Yisrael medaber mim avosayim my oz. He talks in a manner that like close to talk were always talking to their parents. Aval Esav hay medaber uve belushan nister. You can move, please, father, stand up. Kederech shanocher medaber. Interesting. Looks like there's a very fundamental distinction between Klal and Goyim. Klal, when they relate and they communicate with the parents, they'll use more of a personal, they talk to them on a very personal level. Versus the Goyim, when they talk to their parents, they talk on more of a professional level. Tati, stand up. Tati, what do you want? And it brings down the Rav Nosson Adler as follows. Moira Goyen, Rav Nosson Adler, Hisber, he explained the Lushan Noichach, when a son talks to a father more of a personal, more like, like using more of brotherhood, bodyhood language, Moira Kirvas Vedibuk, she shows a very close, mamish, intimate relationship to the father. Because we talk the same, we use the same language when we talk to Hashem. Burich Ato, bless you. Everything Ato. Don't find it. Don't say Burich Hashem, Burich Ato. When we communicate to the Rebbeinu Shalom, we use that personal. We communicate to the Rebbeinu Shalom on a very personal level. So the same we communicate to our Father, the Rebbeinu Shalom, on a personal level. So and that's what creates the relationship between us and the Rebbeinu Shalom. The same way is when a son relates, or a daughter relates to their parent, is also should be presented on a very personal level. Because it shows and creates that intimate relationship between the parents and their child. Jewish people, and the son is that relationship with the father. Therefore, we relate to our parents more of a personal level language. More like a hidden language. When you use like Tati, what do you want? You really don't talk to the father. The son they don't perceive that they're talking to a father. You feel like you're talking to the third person. Using the third language, it creates a distance. So here's a Gavaldic discovery. As more we get personal, as more we relate, and we allow it in the child to use that to communicate and to relate to us on a personal level, as more it creates that intimate kirve v'dveikus to a parent. And as more we demand that he should relate to the child should relate to a parent more of a professional, using more of a professional language, it's more it creates that distance. It becomes a cold relationship. Hashem does not want the parent should have with their child a cold relationship. He wants us to have a very intimate, very close relationship. It depends very much on the language, what the children use with the parents, and vice versa. So as more we use that chavrashaft, the brotherhood, the friendship relationship, as more actually we are creating that closeness and intimate relationship between us and our kids. Rashi in a different place is saying that the taich, Rashi is a mafarish. Rashi is saying that the taich from Av, father, is a friend, chaver. Rashi Pashas Vaigash. Rashi is saying that Av is chaver, is a friend. It's a very interesting nekuda. But Rashi in two places points out that this nekuda that father is a brother. It's not something we should be. It's not something It's not something we should be demanding from a child to respect us more of a professional life. Because if you want to accomplish the distance, so we can do that. But the kirvus and dveikus comes as more we're allowing the child to relate to us on a personal level, on a friendship level, on brotherhood level. As more closer he gets to us, he gets to our parents, and as more closer we feel connected to each other. And sometimes you find that the kids, they sit down on the head of the table, they're using the place of the father in kitchen or in dining room, or they're using they're sitting down the place that really belongs to our father place. So we feel the parents feel very violated, very disrespected. But the child is breaking the boundaries. What he needs that he needs to guard. There's very interesting note that the Chavetz Chaim writes in his sefer. He's saying azoy, beisoy lo nihag b'moyre. Chavetz Chaim never conducted his home, meaning he never related to his kids b'moyre with a fear. Kain al bonov In the son weren't fearful of the father of Chofetz Chaim and the daughters also. Chofetz Chaim used to say, the Chofetz Chaim just gave the opportunity for his kids to be mekayim mitzvahs kibbut av, but Chofetz Chaim never gave the opportunity for his kids to be mekayim moire. You have to fear of your father. Why? Because Chofetz Chaim never generated that fear on his kids. He never projected that fear on his kids. Because we never had the opportunity. Chofetz Chaim's son saying, we never had the opportunity to be mekayim moire because Chofetz Chaim never presented himself as someone who projecting that pachad and fears. Chofetz Chaim's behavior, Chofetz Chaim's pattern, how Chofetz Chaim related to his kids was kereye, like a friend, like a buddy. Chofetz Chaim, ke'ach, like a buddy, like a brother. V'diburov, v'toichoisov, his words, and even when he needed to say musar, always were with the shema, was like very pleasant words, was very very pleasant to hear his musar. Okay, that's you. This behavior was with everyone, with all the people. Chofetz Chaim never stood up for his respect. Chofetz Chaim never stood up for his kuvut. He never demanded a respect. He never demanded of his kids that they should respect him. He always gave up on his respect. Talk about big Chofetz Chaim. Chofetz Chaim never put any fears on his kids. That Chofetz Chaim son writes. His kids did not have any fears of him, and he was always behaving and relating to him like a buddy and like a brother. Chofetz Chaim walked in the room, he walked in the dining room, he walked in the kitchen, he walked in the shul, and he saw that his son sitting on his place. Chofetz Chaim did not blink at it. He did not look at it. He forgave it. He let it just go, let it pass. Lahikbet kalal, and there was makbet in Yishavti b'mekoyim b'beisa b'samedrash. But Chal did not care about it, that one of his kids would sit on his place, dining room or kitchen. I think we should learn from Chofetz Chaim. Sometimes it happens that the child, it's something that happens. The child sits down on the place of his parent, on the father's place in the dining room Shabbos table. So we get the father feels very violated that his son took over the place, disrespected. But you should know that we're not any better than Chofetz Chaim. We're not any bigger than Chofetz Chaim. If Chofetz Chaim felt that it's okay to give up on that place, and it's okay just to not to pay attention to it, I think we can follow the Chofetz Chaim's way in Mahalach. When Chofetz Chaim's son was talking to his father and was in learning or different, he fragt up his Chofetz Chaim's words. Chofetz Chaim wasn't upset at all. At the supper time is also a very important matter that we find sometimes they will get triggered that the kids don't wait for a parent and they just start to eat on their own before the parents. But some people it's very important. The father or mother should start to eat first, and then afterwards they give that the child, okay, go ahead and eat also. And if in the Cholila child start to eat before the parent, they get upset at the child. But Chofetz Chaim writes that we did not wait for our father to start to eat. We just ate it. But how did not wait for him? Because he did not demand from us. We weren't makbet to sit on his place, meaning we sat on his place in the shul and dining room. We did not also wait for him. He should start first eat, and then we'll start also. The Taka did not pay attention, they disregarded completely that these violations that were called to sit on their place or to wait for to wait for them till they started to eat. But they were protecting his Chofetz Chaim and his Rebbetzin were protecting their kids, and were caring for them. It's a gewaltige Heiru what Chofetz Chaim is saying here. Chofetz Chaim never projected any fears and at home, although he had all the rights because he's a father, and the Torah gave rights to the father to give that moyer at home. But Chofetz Chaim gave up on that. Because Chofetz Chaim gave permission to sit at his place in dining room, in the kitchen. He gave permission to sit in his place in Besmedrash. Talking about Chofetz Chaim. Chofetz Chaim did not expect Bechlal the kids should wait for him till he starts to eat, and then they should eat. Bechlal did not this whole moira, the fears. Chofetz Chaim never projected in his own fears. Therefore, he succeeded. And he points out that Chofetz Chaim relationship with his kids was like a buddy, like a brother. It's a very good feelings. Very good feelings. A child feels very good when he can relate to his parent as a buddy or as a father or as a brother. Kids don't appreciate that. Kids don't appreciate, and honestly, we don't achieve anything by projecting that fear. Just more fears, as more distance, as more raya ke'ach, friendship, brotherhood, buddy, is as more kiddos and Divuk will have with the child. The question remains: so at some point do we need to educate the education? How the child will know that Chalal needs to respect his parents? Looks like Chofetz Chaim completely gave up, dropped his shares on his parent authority, and just he'll just let his kids do whatever they want to do. So the question is when would they have to educate our kids to respect us as a parents? The answer is pretty simple. The etzem kibud av aim does not require education. And it's intuitively appealing to a child to respect his parent. Naturally, the child respects his parent. If we don't see the child respects the parent, it's because there's certain error, communication error between the father and the son, between mother and between parent and the child, basically. At most of times, the disrespect what the kids give, it's because the parents are too controlling for a child, too demanding, dominating, being too harsh on them, too strong on them. And this actually creates a very strong tendency to disrespect and disregard the parent. Love dafka, the child wants to disregard and disrespect his parents, but just the child disregard the pressure that he gets of his parents. But if we just lose at our homes and just give that leeway, and we'll forgive from our covet, from our respect, won't demand it, and give that allowance to a child to relate to us at a very personal level, on level of you talking language level and behavior level. As more we just breaking that, the image is being broken, and then when we can create the relationship. Basically, is what really creates a distance between parents and the son is the self-image that the parents have. Parents have the image of authority, and therefore they're demanding from the child to respect the authority themselves. Therefore, we're breaking the kids, and that's what disrespect and disregards come. That's the source of disrespect, disregard. As more we just diminish and break that image, and we accept that it's okay, it's fine to have a relationship with this child, brotherhood relationship, friendship, gishmak relationship, just like a good friend. As more we get respect from the child, because naturally, child respect his parents, if this nature not being broken. And as more the child craves to be with his parents. So that's basically, I think it's a very important rule that we discussed. To sum it, it's the proper way, right way, the productive way for how to communicate with the child is on brotherhood, buddyhood level. As more we do that, as more the kids feel secure and they have very good feelings about about themselves, about the relationship. If you have good relationship with your child, you prevent the child, you protect the child of seeking relationships in different places, because he was charged with good enough content to stay together with his parents. So as more we stick to our Rebbe Chofetz Chaim and we follow his behavior, as more we give up on our respect, but not only give up on our respect, but creating that brotherhood relationship, as more we have the good kids as Chofetz Chaim had. And there's no requirement of education, basically. I mean, there's no requirement of educating the child to respect the parent. Technicality, there is education, but in the sense of we don't have to demand from a child to respect us. But opposite, as more we drop in our respect, as more respect we receive from the child. Tomorrow will continue.